Hey, this is Monica, and I just wanted to share this video with you because I've been looking at some of the videos lately in regards to how people predict winning numbers. So, this is a story that I had about when I was in college, way back when, and it was an interesting dream because I played on a hunch, to be honest with you, and that's how I came to win what I won. And the way it happened was that um, in college, I worked at a bookstore. So of course, you get paid every 2 weeks or whatever the case may be. So in this instance, I had a dream. So I had a dream that I had gotten paid from the bookstore in a check. And I remember looking at the check and saying $188.86. $188.86. Wow, $188.86, which back in the 80s was, a nice amount of money for a college student. So that number stayed in my head. And the interesting part about it was that in the dream, I went to 3 different places to go try to cash the check. I don't remember all the places, but I do remember one of them, which was Alexander's, which, if you're from New York, you know that Alexander's back in the 80s and the 70s was a department store, even into the 90s. But it was a department store. So I remember that in my dream, I went to 3 different places to try to cash this check, and I couldn't cash it. So I think that's why the dream stood out to me, because I did try to cash the check, and that's why the amount stood out to me. So the next morning, which was a Friday, so it was a Friday morning, a college mate and I, we went to go visit a friend in the hospital. So when she came out of the hospital, I was sitting, we went in the car and we stopped to go get cigarettes. Back then I smoked. Don't smoke, it's a horrible thing. But we stopped to get cigarettes at this convenience store. So while she was going inside to get her cigarettes, I was sitting in the car, and I said to her, I said, "Yo, do you have $2 on you?" She's like, $2? I said, "Yeah, let me borrow $2." She's like, "No, I don't have $2." I said, "All right, give me $1." She goes, "Why?" I said, "Because I want to go play this number." I said, "If I win, I'll give you half." So I went in and I played the number 188. Didn't think anything about it. Just went ahead and played it, took the number, put it inside my cigarette pack, and went back to the dorms. So we went back to the dorms, and it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is when the time that the lottery numbers would be broadcasted. So I was getting ready for an event, and I'm sitting on the bed, putting my mascara on, because I could remember like it was yesterday. I was putting on my mascara, and as I'm putting on my mascara, the numbers for the recap are playing in the background. And so all of a sudden, I heard the number 188, but I wasn't really connecting. And then I said, "Oh, did he just say 188?" So it was so funny because thankfully, they did the recap again at the end of the broadcast to say, "These are the winning numbers for today." Blah, 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 blah. So, still in disbelief, I went and I looked at the ticket. I said, 188, 188, 188, 188. It was so funny. I was still in disbelief. So the funny part about that whole thing was, after the event, I showed it to somebody. I was like, "Look, I won." He's like, "Oh my God, you don't know how much, you have any idea how much you won?" And I said, "No." And he's like, $300 and some odd dollars, which back then was a lot of money too. So after the event, I went to go try to cash it. It is so funny because I went to try to cash it in 3 different places, just like I did in my dream. In the 3 different places that I tried to go cash it in to, I couldn't do it. But it was so funny because it's interesting how the universe gives you cues, right? So there's a song that was in the 80s that would go, "I wanna be rich, da 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 da. I wanna be rich." So it's so funny because that song is playing in the background as I'm waiting And I know exactly where I was. I could tell you right now. I was at the 7-Eleven on Montauk Highway in Oakdale, and I was standing in the line waiting to go cash in that lottery ticket. So of course, when I got to the front, I couldn't cash it. So that was one of my three places. I went to King Cullen. A shout out to Long Island. You guys know King Cullen. I went to King Cullen to try to cash it in. Couldn't cash it in there. And then I went to one other place. Oh, I got to OTB too late to go cash it in. So that was the whole funny situation, is that not only did I dream the numbers, but the universe gave it to me exactly how it happened in my dream. And also, sorry, because my dogs are acting up, but not only did it do that, but it also gave me cues, like giving me a nod by hearing that song in the background when I was sitting there feeling frustrated because I couldn't cash in my winning lottery ticket. And so, of course, I did give my roommate half. And we bought Chinese food for all of our roommates and our friends. And we sat there and we hung out on a Friday night after being hungover from the Thursday night before. But anyway, that's my story. And I'm sticking to it. It's been great. I hope that, and I know that, I'll tell you another situation that happened to me in another video. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and be encouraged, because what you have to do is pay attention to your nudges, because you never know when the universe, God, is going to deliver a nice little lump sum to you. Take care. Ciao.